Hey guys, it's TheFrXion here with Tiger Tank 12. How are you gonna call me? I don't really care. And welcome back to World of Tanks. Today we're going to be playing the Object 212A, a Russian Tier 9 self-propelled gun. Now, I know artillery is not very much liked in the World of Tanks community. I think it's the most hated class, and I totally understand the sentiment behind it. I mean, everyone has witnessed Arty hitting someone, one-shotting them, and then just, destroying modules and getting shot over and over again. And I'd say a lot of people think that the new mechanic with the extreme damage that splash shots do and the very, very annoying stun mechanic is maybe even worse than the old artillery pieces. Now, I'm not sure if I can say that because I witnessed a lot of Arty's one-shotting tanks because they just had so much pen. I was one-shotting people with my T92 with AP rounds back in the days. When you were lucky and you penned them, holy shit, they had no chance. And basically, what I want to say is, I'm not sure if it's better, but I have the feeling, well, we're all looking back with a little bit of a nostalgia. Arty always has been an issue in the game, and I basically have just made peace with myself and Arty, and I just think, you know what, I'm accepting it. I'm accepting the artillery in the game. I know it sucks, but, you know, no need to get angry about it because it's just not worth it. So what I decided to do, well, if you can't fight them, join them, right? Basically, no, I think it's if you can't beat them, join them, yeah. No, the reason why I'm playing artillery is to get the Object 261. And I just recently rebought the Object 212A when all the vehicles were pretty much in sale. So if we take a closer look at my entire tech tree of the USSR, basically, or like, I mean, I have every vehicle except for like a couple of them unlocked on the US tech tree, every tier 10, and now I'm trying to get every tier 10 on the Russian tech tree, on the Soviet tech tree. So the only vehicle that I really need to grind is the Object 261. So you're probably asking yourself, how did you get the Object 212A as it is a tier 9 and you haven't even unlocked the tier 7, tier 6, tier 8, and tier 5 artillery of the Russian tech tree? Well, that is because back in the days you were able, well, actually you can still do it, to go through the KV2, get the S51, and eventually through the S51 get to the Object 212A. You're probably asking yourself, well, how are you saying? The 212A is a tier 8, tier 9. The S51 is a tier 7. How is that even possible? Well, back in the days, the S51 was, I think it was still a tier 7, but the Object 212A was a tier 8. The Object 261 was actually a tier 9 artillery piece. There were no tier 10 artillery pieces. Same goes for light tanks, medium tanks, and tank destroyers up until they started to add them one by one to each one of the tech trees. So I had the Object 212A for a very long time in my garage. I've only played 26 games in it, and you can see, statistically speaking, it's a very, very bad vehicle for me. 46% win rate and not a lot of damage, 1,705. That basically had to do with the state that this vehicle was in. I had unlocked almost nothing except for, I think, the top engine, and I just recently unlocked all the rest with some free experience, and I'm not even ashamed to admit that because I am not a big fan of RT grinding. I'm not a big fan of artillery, so I just want to have the top vehicle presented to me to be able to grind the Object 2618. No, Object 261. You can see my crew is not very experienced. That has basically to do with the fact that I don't play very much of Arty, although one of my most played tanks, I think, if we take a look here, is the T92 HMC with 377, no, excuse me, it's the M4043 because I had to grind the T92 HMC without premium, and it was a pretty painful grind. I still own this vehicle, by the way, for the missions that I have to do, but yeah, I haven't played artillery in about 1.5 years. So getting back into artillery, I thought, why not do, or maybe try to make a video about the object 212A, getting better at Arty. Now, I obviously do have some experience with artillery, or at least I think I have picked up some of it, so I'm not entirely a noob with the class. But there are definitely still other players out there that are much better than me who play mainly artillery. Now, I'm just gonna leave it to you, whatever you want to think about that. It doesn't have to do anything with me. I'm just gonna keep my opinion to myself because, yeah, artillery, what a great tank and tank type. So we're gonna be playing a game in the object 212A, and we're gonna see how an Arty novice like me is going to be doing in tier 9 and tier 10 matchmaking. Yeah, I'm not sure, this is probably not going to end up in a series because I think artillery gameplay isn't the most exciting gameplay out there, but I still think a very good artillery on your team that knows which target to engage, where to support, and when to okay, when to reposition can do a lot of damage. And you can see obviously the very first game we're going to be playing is Hemelsdorf. That is basically what happens all the time when you get back into your artillery. You want to play one game of Arty, and the very first game you have is on the very best artillery map, Hemelsdorf. Now, yeah, unfortunately, this is going to be a tough one. But you can see, if you're an experienced Arty driver, well, you know where you can hit those targets. And a lot of times, I think, it's only if you play artillery, you notice that there are so many spots that are not Arty safe that people tend to think that are Arty safe. So it's a very good way to notice where you can actually park your tank behind and where you can't do that. Because I've noticed a lot of small rocks, or actually larger rocks, don't protect you very well against artillery if you move like 5 meters behind it, because of the gun arc that certain artilleries do have. I think the British Arty tech tree is a very good example of that, where they can actually almost lob the shell right over the rock, and that is just, it's absolutely disgusting in my opinion. So if you're playing Arty, you'll probably know which targets are very juicy for you. And one of those targets definitely is a very likely armored Scorpion G. Now, I think, unfortunately, we're unable to hit the Oho. You just have to be wary of what you have to shoot. Sometimes you have to, you know, do certain things for your team. And basically, our artillery is supposed to be a supportive vehicle. Arty is not supposed to be doing all damage in the game. Unfortunately, I don't have 6th sense, so I don't know when I'm spotted. So I have to be a bit more careful right here. Your main role as an Arty is support, right? You're trying to support your allies so that they can shoot at stunned vehicles, you know, get them out of tight situations. And that's your main focus. And you can only do that if you have some sense of map knowledge. Now on Hemelsdorf, there are a couple of alleyways that you can't really reach with your artillery. The hill is actually one of the places where you can be very active, so always keep that in mind if you're playing on this map. The hill is actually one of the places where artillery is able to do quite a lot of damage. Now we do have 2 very dangerous tank destroyers in the back, and what you can see right here, the aim X is probably going to be taken care of, so we're going to focus on the Foch right in the back. 511 damage. We actually hit the lower, or the back part of the vehicle, doing quite a lot of damage to him. So what's very important right now, since we are relying on the AIM-X 12T to spot for us, is that we support his ass right over here. Unfortunately, yeah, if you're reloading, well, there's not a lot of things you can do, and we're not going to be able to shoot the 12T, so we're going to engage the Löwe over there. Because no one else is able to shoot the Löwe. Now he's only at 48 HP, and he's probably going to think about where he's going to move out next. So the problem that we have right now with the Löwe is that he's out in the field. If we go out in the field to get more alleyways to shoot at, we will get spotted by the Löwe probably. So what I'm trying to do right here is get the vehicles, preferably the Scorpion G, that are out here in the open and that are in between the buildings. But it turns out the Löwe is dead. This is very important if you're an Arty player, that you do have some sense of acknowledgement where your enemy tankers are, and it's always very helpful if you have like a couple of these mods that show you where the last enemy was previously hiding or spotted. And now we're gonna blind fire the Scorpion, and that's exactly what happens if you're playing artillery and there is a very lightly armored vehicle. I can promise you, okay, I can promise you that every Arty player is looking at the very lightly armored vehicles and that they keep them in their mind. Sometimes they keep their focus on them, maybe a bit too much, but other times, you know, if you have an opportunity like that, you're going to be taking it. There we go, we finish off the Panther 88, allowing them to push forward. They would have been able to take him on as well, but I just wanted to be able to get another shot off, and I warned my IS-3A buddy, or IS-3 buddy, that I was going to take a shot, and he backed off. And that's basically what Arty is all about. It's not about doing the most damage, it's about helping your team in those situations. If you're doing a lot of damage, now that's an added bonus. And that's also kind of, you know, that's the main problem with artillery is basically just a factor that yeah, the players that are hiding over there don't have the ability to fight back, and that is absolutely true. If you're playing artillery, you're basically free to you know, hit whatever tank you want to hit as long as they're out in the open, and they can't really do a lot against you, especially if they are slow moving heavy tanks. Those vehicles tend to get targeted a lot often, and even light tanks. I've noticed that artillery players like to shoot the lightly armored vehicles to get easy kills, a lot of damage in, and I just think that's the wrong way of going about it. Now, I don't particularly enjoy Arty gameplay because it's not dynamic enough for me, but I do understand why people do like playing artillery. Now, I mean, if we take a closer look at artillery, they have the biggest guns in the game, right? And for newcomers to a certain video game, they might ask themselves, well, I just want to play the biggest tanks, the biggest guns, I want to do the most damage. That is the reason why you see so many tank destroyers out there, because tank destroyers have the biggest guns and they aren't played like artillery pieces, and sometimes they even have very good armor like the Jagdpanzer E100. The problem resulting in that, though, is that people tend to only play tank destroyers because they know that they have huge guns and stuff like that. And what happens is that they don't really know how to play any of the other lines. So when they start playing light, medium tanks, heavy tanks, they just tend to play them like tank destroyers, you know, sitting in the back, trying to snipe, and it doesn't really work like that. And I think that just has to do with the fact that people want to play the biggest guns. They come into the game, they don't really know a lot about the vehicles, maybe heard of them from, you know, just their historical knowledge that they have, and then they tend to play those vehicles that have the biggest guns. So that is always very important to keep in mind when you have like new players playing the game. So we're going to play one more game, and we're going to hope that it's going to be a bit more open fielded so we can really see how potentially destructive artillery can be. And maybe we can even take a bit of a closer look at the CB operating of this vehicle. CB meaning counter battery, destroying enemy artillery without having them spotted first. Now that is actually one way you can pretty easily take care of some of the enemy artillery on the other side. It just requires a lot of patience, and if you do move your tank after every shot, now this is a tip I think I can give fairly well. If you move your vehicle after every single fired shot, you're pretty much a lot safer now than you were before. I mean, okay, the splash damage still will do quite a lot of damage and will hurt your vehicle, but if you have some equipment modules and, you know, consumables in there, you can at least still salvage some of your vehicle. Now, I know a lot of people don't play their artillery with any equipment, or, well, they play it with equipment but with no consumables because, well, they can spend or save money in that case. But if one Arty is starting to countering your vehicle, and you're sitting somewhere in the back and you just get splashed by, I don't even know, M53, 55, it's still gonna hurt your crew. The last thing you want to have in our artillery piece is dead crew members, especially dead gunners and dead loaders that can't do anything. Now, about positioning with artillery on certain maps, well, you just gotta know the map layouts, and you gotta know that there are some places Arty can actually, or enemy vehicles can actually spot you if you're not careful enough. There's a very good video about camouflage values that Wargaming just released yesterday, and I'm probably gonna link it in the description. It is also very relevant for artillery pieces because, I mean, let's face it, Arty that is open is dead very quickly. Usually on this map people don't like to go to the beach because it's a bit of a waste of time. That we just steal the kill on the Brigade 65. And yeah, to be fair, that's exactly what it is. Sitting somewhere in a bush, and you can get spotted very easily. You can see the M53 and the bad chat 155 just got spotted there. I have no idea why they were so far in the front, but they were spotted. I'm not sure by whom, but you can see how quickly they were taken care of. Now we have an isolated Conqueror. You can see he's almost dead. We're not going to waste our shot on that vehicle because we know our team is going to be able to take care of him. That is very important. Don't waste your shots because you have a very long time. The very next important target though here is the VK. And with this view, we can actually put one over the ridgeline. We do not hit him directly, but we do stun him, and that is very nice for our team. So his accuracy has been reduced by quite a lot with this stun effect. Maybe we even killed a crew member, we don't know. And now they can actually advance on his position, and we even get some assisted damage because we stunned him. Right there you can see that vehicle is pretty much taken care of. Only kill them if you know that they cannot kill the vehicle because it's very heavily armored, or if they're about to die and you really need to take care of them. So what we're going to be taking care of right now is this AMX 1390, a very juicy target, just staying in the bush, but you can see accuracy on artillery, obviously. Thank God it's not 100% accurate all the time, otherwise I think this would have been a very dead game very quickly. Back in the days, Arty was a lot more accurate, and that was, I think, a lot more scary, especially the Russian artillery. And now we have a problem. We have a AMX 1390 coming in towards us, and we have to take care of this guy, otherwise he's going to be... So we splash him. He still spotted us, and we actually bounced a shell off of him. That is amazing. So yeah, Arty does bounce shells too, sometimes, when you get lucky. That's exactly what I meant. I don't have 6th sense on my vehicle. I did fire. I kind of had the knowledge that he might light me up, but I had to fire because I was not taking the chance to let him get through, you know, without having any damage dealt to him. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to stun the mouse. I know we're not going to do a lot of damage because the pen on this vehicle has been reduced quite effectively, but with the stun we can actually help our team take him out faster. you know, by stunning his crew, obviously, by giving ourselves a bit of an advantage. And since they don't have any more artillery, you can see now what is going to happen. Okay. Holy shit. Type 4 just hit him. We're actually not going to shoot 1390. We're going to shoot a much more annoying tank for our advancing allies, and that is the Stridswagen 103. Not sure if it's worth it anymore. Let's take a pop shot at the tortoise. At least we splashed them, so it's probably going to be a bit of stun. No real damage because that vehicle is very heavily armored. And yeah, you can see, well, having amazing games in artillery aren't, at least for me, it's not that often. Tends to show on my... Now we're gonna take a pop shot at the STRV. It tends to show with my statistics on my vehicles. I don't usually have amazing games in artillery, mainly because of the fact, obviously, that artillery doesn't do as much damage as they used to do, and because I don't really play that much Arty and I don't have as much experience as other people have. But still, artillery is in the game, so what is the best way to know what Arty is all about than by playing Arty, right? You need to know your enemy to be able to, you know, engage your enemy. So we have the mouse over here, and he's actually going to advance on the Type 4 Heavy. This is actually quite a close matchup still. So artillery is still very relevant to our team, very important. And now we have a FV over here. So the problem is with our long reloads, but with the rather quick aim time, we can still be of service to this Type 4 Heavy. And I'm just gonna focus on the mouse. Just did 93 damage, direct hit, because we need to take out these vehicles one by one. So the Type 4 takes out the mouse. We're gonna be able to reload in time and take another pop shot at the FV. And he's still reloading after having fired a HESH shell at the Type 4 Heavy. HESH shell that didn't go through because he didn't aim it correctly. We're gonna sling it, maybe it's going to hit him. Directed 483. And you can see, I mean, still, I do feel kind of bad for doing this because basically Arty is, it's just a class that can do that, you know. And I mean, 400 damage, 483 damage against a vehicle that you can't see. That is just, that's kind of mad as well, so. Kind of sucks for the vehicles that are being affected by Arty. That is the one reason why Arty is just so damn, yeah, so damn unpleasant to play against. Now, we did do 1,631 damage plus the damage that we don't know about from the hit on the SCRV. We did kill him though, so we know that it was a hit, but it might have been just 200 damage, maybe 300 maximum, because he was shot a couple of times and he was fired upon even while being covered by his camouflage net. So the tortoise just popped up in the very back of the base. And now this is a very delicate situation because we do not want this tortoise to be able to take out this object 704. Okay. That was a very interesting way of taking out a tortoise. I have never seen someone drive upon another vehicle and just squash it like that, but that was a GG. In the end, it was still very close, and you can see Arty support does make a lot of yeah, does make the difference in the end if you have Arty and the other team doesn't have artillery. Statistically speaking, damage-wise, 2032 damage dealt. If we take a look at how much damage we did to the STRV, we did 219, just as I imagined, like not a lot of damage. But yeah, Arty is important. In such situations, Arty is really, really good. And you can see that the T92 only hit twice, and the rest was basically by splash damaging other vehicles. And that obviously is kind of annoying for players as well, but still. 2000 damage, that is not nothing. If we take a look at other tier 10s and tier 9s, we did better than a lot of other tier 9 and tier 10 tanks at normal vehicles. But if we had been driving one of them, we probably would have done more damage in that time that we fired all these shots on the artillery. We fired 11 shots, and we only did 2000 damage. Now, only that is obviously in exclamation marks. Or what do you call them? Yeah, 2000 damage. So I think that pretty much wraps it up about artillery and being a novice in this game. I know artillery is highly controversial. I know they are part of the game, and I've gotten, at least I've made peace with that. But I can see why people don't like artillery. So what do you think is the future of artillery in this game? I don't think they're going to change it that drastically. I think Wargaming is quite happy with the way artillery plays out at the current moment, in the current meta, but there could still be some fine tweaks. Maybe artillery not being as aggressive in close quarter combat, because artillery can still shotgun other vehicles, and that is rather annoying if you're playing a light tank, you spot Arty, and you're going in, and you have to kind of evade the shots. It's still awesome if you do it, but if they hit you, it's really annoying. So yeah, those are my thoughts on artillery. I'm gonna be playing the object 212A to get to the object 261, and I'm gonna give you guys maybe some more thoughts on the matter later on when I'm deeper down in the grind, and I'll see you guys on the next video.